Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Thursday, the 7th of July, 2022. And it's a very sunny Thursday morning. It's 10:37 in the morning as we produce this. Some headlines for the UK. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, has resigned. So we are going to undertake a reasonable amount of political turmoil over the coming weeks. That said, we've seen gold and silver prices dip ahead of Friday's non-farm payrolls report, and so we're going to give you a brief update as to what is happening so far this week, today, and what we're envisaging is going to occur tomorrow. So without further ado, let's take a look. Two interesting articles published on FX Empire this morning, or one this morning and one yesterday. The first published by Reuters ultimately, and the article written by Arundhati Sarkar, hopefully I pronounced the name correctly, and it comes under the heading of Gold Gains on Bargain Hunting After Sharp Losses, Softer Dollar. Gold prices edged up on Thursday as the dollar eased slightly and some investors scooped up bargains after sharp losses in the previous two sessions. Spot gold rose 0.2% to $1,741 per ounce. Gold prices have fallen over $300 since March, after the US Federal Reserve raised interest rates to rein in soaring inflation, increasing the opportunity cost of holding non-yielding bullion. Quote, gold's recovery this morning is looking like a dead cat bounce. The direction of travel, though, is clear that the bears are in control and likely will push lower until physical buyers establish a price floor, unquote, said independent analyst Ross Norman. Norman added, quote, gold is also seeing some relief from a correction in the US dollar, which appears to be topping out, although this is partially offset by a modestly higher 10-year Treasury yield, unquote. Now, interestingly, we'll have a look at gold and silver in a moment. When this article was published, gold was $17.39, and it is slightly higher at $17.43. On a 24-hour rolling basis, it's down $17, but obviously this morning it's marginally up. As we can see here on the chart, Wednesday it's sort of bottomed out at or around, let's have a look, 1740 or just below, and then we've had a slight increase, then a dip back, and then an increase, and it seems to be just about holding above the 1740 level. Now, there's also an article on silver, which we'll cover now, by Christopher Lewis. This was published yesterday, not this morning. Silver markets initially broke down below the $19 level, but turned around to show signs of life on Wednesday. That being said, we still have a lot of negativity. Silver markets technical analysis. I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but just this little bit. Silver markets have fallen hard during the session on Wednesday to break well below the $19 level. However, later in the day, we did see an attempt to recover as we bounced back above that level. By the time the Americans came aboard, it looks as if we're going to try to form a bit of a hammer. Breaking above the top of a hammer opens up the possibility of recovery in the short term, but the $20 level above will more likely than not be a bit of a psychological resistance barrier. Interest rates rising in the US and of course concerns of recession coming suggest that silver will continue to fall, and that's our view. So therefore I like the idea of shorting silver, well we don't do that, and have no interest whatsoever in trying to buy silver as the bottom isn't here. And this is a site, and this is a gentleman who generally we would say errs on the side more of bullishness than negativity. So it's interesting to see what he is saying. And we can see that silver is up over the last 24 hours, and it's currently standing at $19.40. Now, if we compare that to how it closed on Friday, and of course, in our weekly update on Saturday, we'll be providing more details, but we can see it closed on Friday at 19.92. In fact, it's just dipped 1 cent. And it's now 1939. So it's 53 cents lower since Friday's close. Going back to gold, just to get this week perspective, or weekly perspective, we can see that gold closed at 1810 and it's 1743. And that's quite a big dip there. So you're talking at what, $67 down on Friday. Now, it's just been announced here in the UK that Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, has resigned. I won't go into the details as to why, but primarily because people have lost confidence because they feel that he is a persistent liar. That said, interestingly, under normal circumstances, if a Prime Minister resigns, we expect to see stock markets fall, but here the FTSE is up 70 points, or nearly 1%. So that's quite an interesting perspective there. Now, looking at the dollar, it's breached that 107 level, and yesterday we published a video asking the question, is now the right time to buy gold and silver? Our own personal view is not quite yet. We did speak to somebody from the Pure Gold Company, and we put a link to that video below which explains it. And in that video, the gentleman we spoke to thinks there will be a pivot, and it's due relatively soon. We think there'll be a pivot, but we are 3 to 6 months aloof from his prediction. In other words, we will expect to see a few more interest rate rises happen first before we see any distinct recovery in gold and silver. But it does make it look as if we are entering that phase, and it's not investment advice but our own personal opinions. It is gradually entering that phase where it's beginning, at least now, to look attractive. Cryptocurrencies, just very quickly, up this morning 1.7%, and Bitcoin is back over the $20,000 level, and oil prices virtually unchanged. Fortunately, just about below the $100 level, not quite for Brent, $100.75, and $98.54 for WTI crude. Now, Friday is the important day as far as we're concerned, although there's been quite a lot of movement in the market already this week. Therefore, the impact on Friday, unless the figures are completely way out of sync, will be less severe as we would have normally expected, simply because we've already seen quite a fall in gold and silver prices. And why is tomorrow important? Well, we have the non-farm payroll report, and the market is expecting around 250,000 new jobs. If it's less than that, then it doesn't necessarily mean that the Fed won't raise rates at the end of the month. We're certain they will. It's only a question of at what degree. Is it going to be a quarter, a half, or 0.75%? And we'll comment on that closer to the time once we see these figures. But today we have the jobless claims, which will give us a slight indication, but it isn't really going to tell us too much, quite frankly. However, factory orders on on Tuesday, because Monday was Independence Day, was quite attractive, really. 1.6% for May. And then on Wednesday, the services PMIs also came in stronger, which is suggesting that the Fed is on the right track to raise rates, because it hasn't got to fear necessarily of an economy that is failing. Whether we'll have the same attitude in a month or two time, however, remains to be seen. So that's it for now. Basically, gold is down, silver is down, slight recovery yesterday, A lot depends on the figures tomorrow. Today, of course, market makers and traders will be positioning themselves in advance of tomorrow's announcement. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign, and take a look at the last couple of videos we've produced, and we've placed links to each of these in the description box below. And if you are thinking of purchasing gold and silver, we just suggest that perhaps you take a look at the Pure Gold Company, do your own due diligence, but take a look. We have an affiliate link included both in the text and in our comment section. We will receive a very small commission if you do take out any products with them. And we say very small because you are talking about relatively low charges to begin with, low custody fees, and they will actually offer you some incentive if you mention that you are a member of the Illuminati Silver Fan Club. Until the weekend, have a great couple of days. We'll have some political turmoil here in the UK, and at least the sun is shining. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.